Sir, thank you for being with us today. I'll get right to it. What is the current assessment of the situation ever since the Pakistan Army launched Operation Gazabilhak against Afghanistan?
Thank you very much. Operation Gazabilhak was in response to unjustified attacks by Afghanistan on our western border. And this was after suicide and terrorist attacks had been going on for quite some time within Pakistan. You saw that there was an attack on an Imam Barga in Islamabad. There was an attack outside the district courts. There was an attack in Bannu. We lost one of our finest officers, Lieutenant Colonel Gulfaraz Ahmed. So you see, there have been a series of terrorist attacks which are directly linked with Afghanistan. Either the handlers of these suicide bombers or terrorists are in Afghanistan, or these attackers get their training from Afghanistan. So Afghan soil is being used against Pakistan to carry out these terrorist attacks, and these terrorists are being given full facilitation and backing from the Afghan Taliban regime. So it's one thing to have your soil being used against another country, and it's another thing to actually promote these terrorists, give them your fullest support, and then, sort of tell the world that you have nothing to do with it. So we now have irrefutable evidence of Afghan involvement in these attacks. And then when they attacked our border, you saw late last night that there was an effective and immediate response from the Pakistan Armed Forces. Many of their posts, which they fled, leaving behind their ammunition and arms and leaving behind their dead bodies, their posts were taken over by the Pakistan Army. And there is no longer any attack from the Afghan side. But I think our effective and very, very strong response has forced them to be on the back foot.
We've heard that their spokesperson has said that now they're open to talks. So is that something that Pakistan is considering?
I think it's too early to be talking about this, because I believe that it's an ongoing situation. And the strikes by Pakistan are being carried out. And since the situation is evolving, let's see how things turn out in the next few days. Because I believe that Pakistan is still in its response mode in order to neutralize the threat that Pakistan faces. So today you saw a testament to these terrorists being linked with the Afghan Taliban regime, that they, within Pakistan, tried to use some drones to target some of our areas. And our anti-aircraft system, it shot down those drones, and there was no loss of life, alhamdulillah. So you see, why did these terrorists try to attack through these drones? Because they are totally in sync with the Afghan Taliban regime. So I think it's an ongoing situation which is now evolving, and we'll see how it turns out.
Right. Earlier today, while talking to the media, you called the Afghan Taliban an illegitimate regime. How does Pakistan deal with a neighbor like that, and especially considering that we're facing threats on the Eastern Front as well, and there are now friendly ties between India and Afghanistan?
I think, first of all, it's an illegitimate regime because the very basis of the regime is perversion of religion. The very basis of that regime is subjugation of women, denying them their basic rights, persecution of minorities, women and children, and also that this regime is resorting to certain arbitrary laws which are based totally on discrimination. So for example, the regulation that they brought in, Article 9 and Article 15 of that regulation, it has introduced this stratification. There's a class system in which the elite class, if they violate the law, they are to be issued a mere warning, and they are to be let off with a warning. And the middle class, which they've classified, if they violate any law, they are subject to imprisonment and a warning. And the lower class, they've actually classified this class as a lower class, like we used to have in the ancient Hindu caste system. The lower class is to be subject to severe beating and physical torture if they violate the law. So what kind of regime is this? Are they even adhering to the international standards, international laws? are they even adhering to the UN Charter for that matter? You know that they've banned women education starting from the ages of 13, because once a girl reaches the age of 13, she is not allowed to continue her secondary or higher education. So she can't go to college, she can't go to university, and that's about it. That is the end of the road for her. So 80% of the female population, which is between the ages of 18 and 29, those women cannot go into productive employment. They are not allowed to pursue a career in any profession. So you see, this regime also prohibits women from speaking in public, and they have this enforcement mechanism where 3,000 men are tasked with physically stopping these women, which is like mob justice or vigilante justice. And they are tasked with punishing women on the spot for violations, because they are not allowed to access public parks, public places, and in the public places where they are allowed, they're not allowed to speak. So this regime, the supreme leader of this regime, Akhundzada, and the Chief Justice, Hakim, they both have been issued warrants by the International Criminal Court for persecution of women. And we have a UN Security Council resolution in February, which says that women have been abducted, they have been subjected to violence, subjected to torture. You see, in our part of the world, domestic violence is a real issue. But there's nothing to prevent domestic violence in Afghanistan. There are no laws. In fact, laws encourage violence against women. So this is a regime which is illegitimate, which persecutes women specifically, children, minorities, and also is based on perversion of religion, because they have brought about laws which are against the spirit of Islam. So they have their own version of religion which they are using for their vested interests. So all these policies and laws have nothing to do with Islam. So they want to impose a particular ideology which I think is unacceptable even in Islam.
Have any international actors or friendly countries offered to mediate, to de-escalate tensions?
I think a lot of friendly countries have expressed their concern over the situation. The Foreign Minister and the DPM, Ishaq Dar Saab, has been contacted. And obviously expression of concern is being shown. But I think at this point in time, because it's an evolving and ongoing situation, I think we'll have to wait and watch how things turn out.
Right. And given that we have been open to dialogue in the past and all of that has failed, what will Pakistan's policy be moving forward, especially since the Afghan Taliban have always refused to stop providing safe havens to the Tehreek-e-Taliban?
I think Pakistan has been extremely patient. Pakistan has exercised a lot of restraint. And for a number of years now, and you know it well that we've been very gracious hosts for over 40 years, 4 decades, to 4 million Afghans. And I don't understand the reason for this hostility and why the Afghan Taliban regime is not only supporting the terrorists, but also attacking Pakistan without any justifiable cause. So I think Pakistan's current objective is to neutralize the threat. And neutralizing that threat is the situation which we are now dealing with. And let's see how this evolving situation turns out. I think Pakistan should be able to neutralize this threat in a very effective manner.
Earlier today, the DGISPR said that Pakistan will go on until the desired end.
Yeah.
What is that desired end?
That is exactly what I'm talking about, neutralizing the threat and ensuring that Pakistan is safe. Because for us, we've been good neighbors, we've been very friendly neighbors, we've been very, very generous neighbors. Our generosity, unfortunately, has often been seen as our weakness. So the objective aim is to neutralize the threat and make Pakistan safe.
And if there is to be a ceasefire, is Pakistan ready for that?
I think it's too early. As I said, it's too early to comment on that because we are faced with an evolving situation. Let's see how things turn out.
Is there any indication of support for Afghanistan from their new friendly neighbors?
I think Afghanistan, I don't think that they will receive any support. They have been trying to make alliances. But I think whatever they stand for is not acceptable anywhere. And it will be wishful thinking that they will receive some support from anywhere. I think it's their mess, and they are now facing the music for it.